I'm assessing risk versus reward ratio, I think, at this point in time.
Yep, keep going.
I don't know about you, but I've got my heart in my throat at the moment. So.
I stopped there for a second, we could just feel it sinking.
Nice one, Victor, well done.
It's all in the car back.
Was that some of the gnarliest four-wheel driving I've done? One in a long time and two in the 14er.
Oh, a little bit of scrape there. I don't know what that was, but it didn't sound very good.
That was a wild ride.
It's been an awesome week, and I tell you what, I can't wait for it to be done again.
Bogged.
Narva is stuck.
First one of the day.
On my way.
Unfortunately, I sort of got hung up on that real big drop. The nose dropped in and we couldn't quite see the edge of the track and couldn't quite pick a nice lines.
Pretty hefty. I think we're hung up. I think we might be stuck.
Michael from Narva in his Ranger was the first of the little cars to go through, and thankfully he got stuck. It was a carton. Someone had to get stuck first, and it was Michael.
We called Simon for help. The first thing he went for was the tread boards, but I think they decided if they just gave us a little push from the rear that we'd clear it and drop down into the hole. So I'm glad that they did, because it just made it quite nice and quick and easy. I'll have to put my hand up and say I was the first one that sort of got stuck for the day. Not that I had to winch out or anything, but, you know, I did get stuck.
He's got some work lights on the back of the bar. Unfortunately, I think he took casualties and both those work lights are crashed. But I'm pretty sure Michael knows where he can get some new work lights. I'm sure the boss is happy to replace them.
Next!
Go! Nice. Don't understand Marcus' problem.
That's a Ranger. Broken. Nothing broken as yet. As yet, touch wood, we haven't checked the car. Gotta slap the head first. No, it's been awesome. It's been a good one.
Damage report?
Yeah.
Michael, great advancement for LED. I noticed you're running the Mark 215.
Yeah, that's right, Simon. They're absolutely brilliant light. Just such a soft colour and such an even light. Makes it easy to see the road and the bush around you when you're driving.
I know they're a bit more expensive, but you do get what you pay for. At that top end, I have not seen a light that performs better.
In the last couple of years, LED's just gone ahead in leaps and bounds in technology. Our light engineers are getting a much better understanding of LED and the colour range that they should be at to be able to maintain that light for long periods of time without it dissipating or shifting. It's amazing the technology that's coming through in this product now.
Hey Simon, I've got to say I have changed recently to Narva, and these 180s hold their own, absolutely incredible. For a small light, these things are phenomenal, and I'd put them up against just about anything on the market there. Cannot fault them, absolutely amazing.
After that steep drop-off, put us into a pretty rutted, rocky sort of a descent.
It looked pretty hectic. We got out there and decided, yeah, easy as. We've done some awesome tracks today. We're going to nail this.
Quite a steep downhill descent, bit slippery, bit slidey. Not too big holes, but definitely not much traction. Letting the truck using gravity is sort of just sliding down the hill as opposed to driving down the hill.
Yeah, that's an angle.
Oh, a little bit of scrape there. I don't know what that was, but it didn't sound very good.
They cleared out a little bit of track for me, so I descended into the big step down, just took it nice and easy. Don't want to pull off any of my rear lights, still got to drive home.
Another walk in the park for you, Sarah. It's all in the car, mate.
Next, it was Jace from Slided Solutions to come down behind me. He descended the first part of the track. I think he hit a little bit of underbody but he was taking it nice and slow, so nothing too crazy, no damage done. Then it was the Narva car, took it nice and slow, made sure his wheel placement was correct.
So they're just looking at that drop on the left, so we might sort of stick to the right, I think. Just speculate.
One of those tracks where you just keep the car in low range and let it creep itself down. So you're turning one way, the back of the car's going another. Just got to keep your wits about you and stay calm and collected. Really nice drive, good challenge, but pretty relaxing at the same time too.
We've pulled up for the days. Now it's time to sit around and talk about how everyone enjoyed their trip and what's next for tomorrow.
Considering the terrain and tracks we've tackled today, it's been pretty casualty free. It's been really interesting. It's been good to get out and try some different stuff. Great bunch of businesses, but even that aside, just great bunch of people. Just a fun day. It's been really good.
When we got to that hill, I really thought that we were going to be there till midnight. And a few of the other tracks during the day, I really thought we're not going to get out of here till very, very late at night. With Simon's guidance for the vehicles, it turned out really well and all cars made it up with minimal damage. Really awesome to go full driving and have so much fun on a Saturday with such an awesome crew. Couldn't think of anything better to do.
It's been a long day, everyone's pretty tired. We've had a fair bit of travel today on top of a full day of wheeling with everyone. We've got another full day ahead tomorrow. What didn't happen today can always happen tomorrow, as they say, especially on the last day.
I think it's fantastic for the WA four-wheel drive industry to be involved with four-wheel drive TV and give people the opportunity to see some of our fantastic countryside.
This area is insane. Off to my right, we've got a huge, rocky, steep downhill section. Off to my left, we've got the creek crossing, and a beautiful climb up out of that. Behind the cameraman, there are more rocks and dugout rutted trails, and right here, there are a stack of muddy little climbs. So let's get stuck into the Brunswick play area and have some fun.
For day two, we kicked off where we started lunch yesterday. Whole pile of tracks going off in every direction. Definitely had to pick the right line. Some of them were vehicle deep, 2 metres deep, pretty steep entrance and exits out of those holes.
That's the first glider.
As long as the rear drops in, nice and easy, just straighten up.
So one of the rutted sections we saw, we looked at it and we thought coming up one way was a bit sketchy, so we're going to go down the other way. A few routes across it, a decent drop off actually, but going down it was obviously easier than trying to give it full send coming up. So we went straight down it, turned to the left a little bit and we did this full loop back, and then there was this awesome rutted section which once you jumped into it, the ground was as tall as my window, so I could stick my arm out and touch the top of the terrain.
It was one of the tracks which again looked a bit hairy for the vehicles with the smaller tyres. The 2 patrols we got with us running pretty big gear. Sarah had a go at it a couple of times, had it right on the limiter there at one point.
Simon convinced me to drive a pretty hectic incline that was quite tight and narrow on either side, and the banks were probably nearly at the roof of my car sitting on 37, so you can tell how deep they were. I decided to give it a crack. I never back out of a challenge. Up I went, tried first, tried second, on the limiter a little bit. Decided that it probably wasn't such a good idea after I heard my passenger front door get a little bit crunched up. So I decided to reverse out of the track. I did try it twice with no avail. So I've reversed out and got out to have a look at the damage. Whoopsies, my new wrap is...
Well, it lasted a few days.
I have done a passenger side front door. It's caved in, pushed back, the door light's staying on. Needs a new door. And I've also damaged the driver's side rear quarter panel. Not ideal, but it's all part of the game.
So after we'd come through the deep rutted section, we thought let's give this a go again and see if we can have a bit more of a challenging track. So went down the same track with the deep roots and drop off, gave it a good go around the left and up and around. Again, it was still muddy and sludgy and bit of rock and roots and everything like that. And then there was an exit, and we thought, I'm going to give this a go and test the Fortuna. So rather than going right, I stuck left. But I needed help, so Sarah and Simon jumped on board and talked me through it over the radio, and I tried to get up this one step. Tried 3 or 4 times, giving it full herbs and choosing different lines. Couldn't do it. We ended up staking a tyre on the route, but we didn't realise that till we'd come out. So what we did is both myself, Simon and Sarah called it. So I reversed back and took the easier way out, which was on the right, and just motored on through it, and again back through the deep ruts to come back to where we were all congregating for our lunch break.
So we came around to what was going to be one of the biggest challenges of the day, or what we thought would be the biggest challenge. It was a pretty rutted out downhill section. To start it, we saw the UNIMOG drop in and get quite a bit of wheel lift. The smaller vehicles went around it. We actually watched the guys from Off-Road Living drop into this one, and was calling for a fair bit of track rebuilding. We had to prop it up quite a little bit, or we're going to drop this one on its side.
So I was really worried about dropping into that. We got a bit more of an overhang on the truck and worried about that departure angle dropping into that first hole, but surprisingly it actually didn't hang up. Simon assured me we would have enough room, and he spotted me on the right line. We dropped into the first hole, and that was sweet. And we moved on to the next section and dropped down into the really deep one. Dropped over the side okay, but then as the front wheel went down past that hole, the crust was broken, and that was it. I stopped there for a sec and we could just feel it sinking. We were right over, sort of holding onto the doors to stay upright. We just paused for a sec, made a plan, filled in the hole, gave us the ability to pull back up on that side wall, and everybody jumped in and gave a hand. We managed to drive out of there with not too much effort, and actually didn't do any damage in that section as well, which I was really surprised by.
Sean and the Unimog head off and just sort of scout out the tracks and have a look and see where we were going to go to next. Definitely pretty handy having a vehicle like that around that can get up there and have a look, but also having people in it that realise that if the Unimog does it, doesn't mean everyone else is going to be able to.
We're Sarah and Sean from West Coast 4x4 Recovery, and behind us is our Unimog. It is a Mercedes Unimog. It is a U1700 and it's ex-military, but she definitely lives up to her name and is an awesome rig. So this is an absolute weapon. No matter where you are stuck anywhere in WA, we have got the tools to be able to get you out.
Quite a large winch, that's the starting point of this truck. It's a 20,000 pounds, 48 metres of 14mm cable. This is all done in-house at our workshop, so we've built this truck ourselves.
So if you are bogged anywhere in Western Australia, just know that this machine is going to be coming for you.
On the way in, I had a bit of a scout around just to make sure some of these tracks were passable by the less lifted vehicles. The majority of the boys here, it's a work car, it's a daily driver. It's also their promotional cars. The climb down into the river and then up out of the river is not really technical for us, but it's certainly going to give the boys a good run for their money, providing they put all their wheels in the right spots. If they don't, it's probably going to cause a bit of damage. But further up the hill, there's certainly a couple of big holes that, yeah, I'll dare say most of the boys will be driving around because they're car swallows.
But not bad.
The Fortuna is not built for that, I'm sorry.
That's going to be over the height of your gum boots. I'm assessing risk versus reward ratio, I think, at this point in time. Trying to build the courage to do it, I think.
He couldn't see where he was going, so I opted to get out in front of it and give him a bit of a spot down.
Just seemed that the further and further we got down this one, it didn't seem to get any better, and it just got worse and worse.
Standing at the bottom of it looking up, it looked borderline impossible.
It's going to go one of two ways. We're either going to cruise through it or it's going to be challenging.
About halfway up the hill there was quite a large rock off to the right-hand side.
You have to aim left hand down to get your back end to swing around the back of the rock, otherwise it would have been a sill chomper.
And then the last bit, it's pretty well full noise to get out of there.
Couldn't work out what was going on here, but turns out we had no choice. We were all going.
We had him in position. If anyone got stuck or we needed to winch, we could winch off the back of him.
I don't know about you, but I've got my heart in my throat at the moment. So.
Oh, you're going to do a bit of track building for us?
A bit of track building.
Right, so from here, we want noise all the way to the top. All right?
Surprisingly enough, we managed to pull it off and get it out the top.
Bit dodgy in a few spots, but with the right people spotting you, you can get through relatively easy without any damage.
Now, do you want me to get a picture of that?
Some great spotting from Sarah, and Andrew was also there from Off-Road Living. And halfway up the hill we had Simon, who pointed us in the right direction.
What a drive, what a drive.
Nice dive.
I need a tyre repair kit down here.
How flat is it?
A big split in the sidewall.
Nervous as hell. This has taken me out of my comfort zone, so put my trust in everyone and send it and hope we don't break anything and we get up the top without any dramas.
Ah, it's got it in the face.
He had negotiated that hill very, very well with a tyre that was starting to deflate. We could actually hear it pumping out of the sidewall as he was bouncing up the track.
Holy If this thing had a limiter, that would have been it. I think she's flat now.
You got to sort of navigate around the big rocks sticking out, which involves a bit of strategically letting the car sort of slide its way around, navigating the ruts and letting it move in the way it needs to.
I definitely think that the Black Dog car won best drive up the hill. He really went for it, and when he got to the top, it was an off-camber right-hand turn, and he did have some big wheel lift.
Thanks, Victor, well done.
Pretty proud of myself. I think I handled it and controlled the car really well.
Got my top two navvies in the car with me. Turbo's a great spotter. He's pretty good at running winch ropes. Bit of a tyre clean. That rock step up on the right hand side is a bit of a door cruncher. We've already damaged the door today, so don't want to do the other side, although it would be matching.
Too easy.
And he did a great job spotting actually. The heart was probably pumping a little bit harder than normal, but we got through all right, but that's the easy bit, I think. Probably our length getting around that rock, you got to go out wide to the left, but getting over that top lip I think is also going to be maybe an impossible task. We'll see.
Now we get to test the hill start.
Swing right, yep, keep going, keep going.
Nice.
Oh, this truck is surprising, eh?
I did not think it was going to do that at all. That's awesome. Holy
Oh, that was a wild ride.
Oh, is that supposed to be on this corner? Oh, and another clearance light. Yeah. Oh, no.
Rather than trying to change it on the track, we're just going to stick a couple of tyre plugs in. Plugging sidewalls is not recommended at all, but when you're in the tracks, you do what you need to do to keep going. So hopefully that lasts till the end of the day and we can change the spare when we're on the main road.
Was that some of the gnarliest four-wheel driving I've done? One in a long time and two in the Fortuner.
Hey Stephen, pretty nice to you brought along on the trip. Tell us about the setup of what you guys have done to get a trail ready.
We set it up as a bit of a tourer more than a weekend warrior. Basically set up to get in and go wherever you need to go.
What's the process when somebody comes in for a total vehicle fit out? How do you go through that?
So basically when the guys come in, we sit down with them and find out what they really want to do. My guys are taught to sell for what the customer needs, not just to try and rip them off. We actually give them the availability of not only the workshop fit out time, but also when parts are coming. So you know everything is good to go and the customers agreed with that. And start fitting their dream vehicle out.
I wouldn't even call the track. I looked at it, Shane looked at it, and we thought it was just a bit of a wash off. But according to the guys, it was a track.
We decided to put on a bit of show for everyone and show everyone what we are actually capable of.
Sean tackled it in the Unimog first, opted to go to the left line as I don't think he would have fit on the right.
Watching the way the mob literally just stepped up that rock like as if it was just a human walking up a staircase. Absolutely, piece of cake.
He got up there, you can hear the banging and the crashing. I think he stoved in one of his wheel guards, but I know he got out and got that fixed. But he got up to the top easy as.
Well, that went better than planned.
And then Aaron, the camera car, who's been the test dummy for most of the weekend, decided he'd follow up in his 4.5 litre Nissan Patrol. He's twin locked with reduction gears.
When Sean's not looking, I'm going to size up his spare and see if it'll fit on the Hilux, but I don't think it will. It's been great. We had a really good meet with some of the local four-wheel drive scene on Friday night at the Oz four-wheel drive equipment store. I think it set the weekend off nicely, heading into Saturday, getting out to come around for four-wheel drive, all prepared by West Coast 4x4 with the tracks and that they lined up for us. Some awesome tracks.
Sarah and Sean have nailed it with the tracks. It's been an awesome weekend. I tell you what, I can't wait for it to be done again.
I really want to thank everybody making this weekend happen, and I hope you really enjoyed the content.
Thanks to Simon and the crew for a great weekend. Hopefully we've shown him some of the best parts of four-wheel driving in WA and we want to come back again soon.
We've had so much fun this weekend. I haven't been able to get the smile off my face all weekend, and no doubt you'll see that in some of the footage today.
We had some awesome weather, we had some awesome driving, we had a bit of panel damage here and there, nothing major. Overall, absolutely top weekend. Can't wait to do it again.
Thank you for tuning in to another big episode of Simon Christie's 4-Wheel Drive Pro Tips. Jump onto 4wheeldriveprotips.tv for more information, and make sure you follow 4-Wheel Drive TV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit and YouTube. I'm Simon Christie. Thank you for joining us. And remember, if you've got a 4-wheel drive, get it set up, get out here and use it. We'll see you next week.
Down.